Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this presentation. I'm Nicolas Wirrmann. I'm the product manager at Allegorithmic. So for those who don't know us, we are the maker of the Substance texturing suite. We make Substance Designer and Substance Painter. So Substance has kind of become the standard in the video game industry. More than 160 AAA game studios are using Substance. And also thousands of indie artists are also using Substance. Maybe you know it, but in Unity, you have a native integration of the Substance engine, which means that you can directly load substances inside Unity and use the power of Substance and procedural tools directly in the Unity 5 engine. So today, I'm going to present you a sneak peek of an R&D project we are working on. Well, I will explain you that later, but it basically allows you to texturize objects based on material layering. But first of all, I'm going to make a very quick introduction to Substance Painter, just in case you guys don't know the software yet. I will show you most of the feature, but it will be a very quick introduction. So we'll switch to Substance Painter. So yeah, for those who don't know Substance Painter yet, Substance Painter is a 3D painting application. It has two main features, I would say. The first one is that it's entirely non-destructive. So basically it means that when you work on a project like this one, we don't store the final pixel value like in a PSD file, for example. We store all the actions that are necessary and all the resources that are necessary to generate the projects. So just to make a quick example, I'm going to create a new layer. When I paint on the object like that, I'm just painting a single stroke, we are actually storing the camera position when you paint the stroke. We store the stroke path as well. We store all the brush properties and all the materials settings. So it means that when you load the project, Substance Painter will actually regenerate the project for you. So it has two interesting side effects. The first one is that you can change the resolution at any time. So it means that you can work at 1K or 2K, and at any time you can switch to 1K or whatever resolution you want. And the other side effect is that you can actually change the UVs and the topology at any time. For example, if you start sculpting something in ZBrush and you want to start texturing without having to make very high-quality UVs or high-quality topology, you can start texturing directly with crappy UVs and crappy topology, do your things, make tests, and once you have the final mesh, you can just re-import the mesh. You go to the project configuration, you load the new FBX with the final UVs, final topology. You click OK, and Painter will just recompute everything with the correct topology and UVs. So in Painter, you can work on multiple channels at once. So that's one of the strengths of the Substance Painter tool suite, is that we work on materials directly instead of individual channels. In this case, in this project, I'm working on the base color, roughness, metallic, and normal. So the roughness is basically just the invert of the glossiness map. So it means that when I paint on my object, I'm actually painting the base color, roughness, metallic, and normal channel at the same time. But you can still decide to paint only one channel at a time. For example, in this case, I'm painting this yellow color, like that. And I can paint only on the metallic channel as well. And in my layer stack, we have here, we can switch between the 4 channels. So I can individually adjust the opacity and blending modes for the base color, and the same for the roughness or metallic channel. So this layer is a regular layer where you have access to all the standard painting tools, the brush, alphas, and so on. But today, nowadays, we mostly rely on what we call fill layers. So fill layer, so it's this button here. It will simply fill the entire UV space with a content. By default, the content is uniform colors, like in this case, uniform color for base color, roughness, and metallic. So this way, you can very quickly define very simple material. But you can also use substances. So this sphere here is a red paint. So it has been made with a substance designer. And this substance already contains all the necessary channels, base color, normal, roughness, and metallic. So you can see the channels with the C key. So for this demo, I'm just going to texturize this asset in a few minutes using the layer stack. So basically, I will create one layer for each material, and then I will create a mask to make the material visible or not. So exactly like in Photoshop, but in Painter. So my first material is this white paint. Then I would like to add some rust on top of that. So I'm going to just drag and drop this rust material in the layer stack. And of course, I want to generate a mask to make the rust visible only at some places. So to do that, it's really simple. Right-click, add black mask. And then I can start painting on the mesh to, like with this kind of preset, to make the rust visible. So you can paint manually on the mesh, of course, but it may be more convenient to generate these masks procedurally. I mean, using data coming from the mesh. So I forgot to mention that, but in Painter, you can actually bake textures. So the normal map, the wall space normal, element occlusion, curvature, and so on, directly in Painter. So you can just load the low poly mesh. You click on this Bake Textures button, and you get the baking window, which allows you to bake all these maps. So I'm just going to show you what these maps look. So this is the tolerance space normal. This is the ambient occlusion. Curvature, or space normal, and so on. So we can make use of these maps to generate masks automatically. So to do that, it's very simple. Just right-click on this mask, click on Add Generator. Then you click on this button, and you got this small list of mask generators. So in this case, I'm going to use this one, ng dirt. So you see that it automatically creates a mask. We can look at it by using the Alt-click button. And actually, this mask is a substance. So it has been designed in Substance Designer, sorry. So basically, you have a graph where you have inputs to make the plug to the curvature, element occlusion, wall space normal. And in the graph, we process all these maps to generate a mask. And then we expose some parameters to be able to adjust the look of the mask. But the very nice thing in Painter is that you can actually paint over this mask or make more process. For example, I can just right-click over this mask and select Add Paint. So I can paint in white or black to remove parts or add parts to the mask. I can also add a fill on the mask. So let's say I want to fill the mask with a kind of grunge map, like this one. And a very nice thing about the fill in Painter is that you can project the texture in wall space instead of UV space. So, for example, if we look at this area, for example, we have a nasty seam in this place, and if you switch to triplanar projection, you would no longer have the seam. And the very nice thing is that you can also change the opacity for this layer and the blending mode. In this case, I'm multiplying this grunge texture with the previous result. So it's exactly as if you had a layer stack, but just for the mask. And a very nice thing also is that you can save this layer stack for the mask as a preset. So to do that, it's very simple. You just right-click on the mask, select Create Smart Mask, and it creates a preset in the Smart Mask library. And you can reuse, so this one, and you can reuse this setup for another object. So you can reuse the work you have done on a single object to another one. So for the sake of the demo, I've pre-made some presets. So we just finished texturizing this set in like 2 minutes. So I just need another material for the raw metal that should be underneath. So I drag and drop the metal. Then I go here. I drag and drop my preset on the layer stack. So it will just recreate the layer stack preset for this layer. And then finally, I want to add some dirt. So I have dirt material, drag and drop, and then it should be, where is it? Mass dirt. Okay. This one is a little bit heavy. Okay. So this is an example of a texturing process. You see it's very, very fast and quite clean. But this is an example of the old way or regular way of texturing an object. And at the end, you will get unique texture for this asset. But these days, we start seeing in the video game industry a new workflow appearing, where people actually design materials, unique materials, that they will then reuse for multiple objects. So they only save tiling textures, tiling materials, and in the game they will apply all these materials and blend them directly in the shader using masks. So the masks are adapted to a single mesh, but the blending between all these materials is made directly in the shader. So that's something that has been done, for example, for The Order, made by Ready at Dawn. Maybe you have seen the Seagrove presentation. But in The Order, they did this, they use this texturing workflow. So it's very nice, and we can do that because the GPUs that we are using today are powerful enough to process all these textures and make the blending directly at runtime. And it allows you to have a better quality because you can make this material style on the object, and you can get close to the object and get a very nice quality. So the only problem with this workflow is that for now, people can't pre-visualize this result in the offering software. So they could have the preview directly in the engine, but not during the painting and mask generation time. So that's what I'm going to show you. So I will switch to my other project. No. So maybe you saw the red line, the red process bar. It was Painter regenerating the project. So in this version of the project, we have a quite different setup. So directly in the shader parameters, you see that we have 4 materials, material 1, 2, 3, and 4, along with multiple parameters, which are used to simply make the materials tile. So if I change this material 1 chord, I just change the UV multiplier, so the material will tile more or less. So this, I don't know if you see that very well, but if I get close to the surface, maybe rotate the light like that, you will see that you get a lot more details. But the multiple materials, so in this case the red paint and the rust, are blended together using a mask that is adapted, to the mesh at a specific resolution. So how does this work? So to make it simple, this is the shader that is used in the 3D view in Painter, where we define all the materials and the mask. So it's not very complicated. You just have this materials group where you define material 1, material 2, 4, 3, and 4. And then here you have the mask. And you can define materials which will appear as buttons in the UI, where you can just plug materials, but you can't do anything else. So you have to use predefined materials. And in this group, so you have the stacks. For the stacks, you will be able to manually paint the mask, manually edit the mask. So this is where you can use all the mask generators and all the baked maps from the mesh. So I'm just going to show you a very quick example. I'll just disable the shadows like that. So if I select, for example, the mask 3, which should be the one for the dirt, I have one. So this is the mask for the dirt. I have one mask generator that is a substance. It generates this result automatically. And I have this paint layer where I used all the painting tools we have in Painter. So at the end, when you have finished creating the mask, adjusting the tiling values, or maybe the normal map intensity, for example, you are going to export this setup. So you simply go to the export textures. You have this little checkbox, export shaders parameter, which will simply create a JSON file containing this setup. So which materials have been used, and all the UV multipliers and normal map intensity. And then all the materials that are being used, red paint, rust fine, steel rough, and so on, they will be exported normally as tiling texture, but just one tile of the material. So once you have exported this, so it should look like something like that. So you have a JSON file which contains the list of the materials, the mask that is being used, and not the normal map in this case. And we have just merged the three masks into a single RGBA image, RGBA. So once you have that, we have made a script in Unity. So just click on the mesh. We have made a script in Unity that allows you to load the JSON file. Okay. And it will automatically apply the same materials that we are using in Painter, and it plugs automatically the mask and the normal map to give you the same result. So this way you can really fine-tune the texturing of your mesh in Painter, pre-visualize the result, and then use a script to generate the same setup but inside Unity. So once you have that, there is a little bug that it does not keep the setup, so you have to do it again. You can still change the parameters of the setup. So you can still change the tiling of each material. And you can even maybe change the material by something else. Like this. Well, I think I've covered my main demo. We still have a lot of time, actually. So if you have questions, I can answer the questions. Yes?
I blinked my eyes, and all of a sudden the layers were gone, and you had this stack. Can you repeat that?
You mean in Painter?
Yes. When that was rendering, and I didn't catch it.
Okay, so yeah, I loaded the project. Maybe I will do it from scratch. So basically, you have this. In this part, it displays all the shader settings. Okay, so this shader is this file where we define the multiple materials, the multiple layers. And then this code is interpreted by Painter, and it generates automatically this UI where you have all these slots, material 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then for each slot, you can select one of the material that exists in the library. So it's mainly made for studios or projects where you create a material library and you will force the artist to use these specific materials. They won't create a single unique textures for each asset. So this way you can reuse the materials for the whole game. So you have these slots, so I can recreate the same process. My first layer is the white paint. Then the second layer is the rust. And then I have the raw metal, so it's steel, like that. And finally, the dirt. So we are limited to 4 layers because it already makes quite a lot of samples in the shader. And yeah, because of the hardware, we are still a bit limited. And for each material in this texture set list, you are able to edit the mask. So for example, if I disable all the masks except the first one, in this case, I'm editing only the mask for the rust. And for the rust, I'm using the same mask generators as I did before with the regular workflow. So you see that I have the mask editor, which generates this dripping rust substance, and then finally a paint layer on top of that. And so I repeat this step for the 2 other materials, and it generates the final result. And so when you are done, you just go to the export textures, you click export, and it will export the mask and the material setup. Yes? In this case, no, it's a unique shader. We just use a script to automatically plug the materials in the white slots and change the scale values. But it's a single shader. And yeah, I forgot to mention that, but before we did anything, we created a similar material library as we have in Painter. So you see that we have this base material folder where we have lots of materials. So it could be your material library used for the whole game. And the way it's organized is the same as how it's organized in the shelf in Painter. So this way we can match the materials. Yes? So the question is if we can generate the mask inside Unity. Oh. So the question is if we could modify the mask directly in Unity. You could probably do that, but you would have to use a substance for that. So, well, actually, because in Painter I use all these mask generators, and these mask generators are substances, instead of using Painter for generating the mask that will be static, I could directly import the mask generator in Unity, but I would also have to import all the baked maps so that the mask generator works correctly, and generate the mask in Unity, adjust the things, and then you can choose if you want to bake this result in Unity or compute this at load time or runtime. But yeah, you could technically do that. It will be a mix of using Painter and Designer. Yeah. Yes?
Is there a possibility if you are to make like a polygonal selection tool on your working on your view only?
Yes, sure. In Painter, it was a very quick introduction, but there are lots of features that helps you creating masks. For example, if I select this layer, you have this tool called Polygon Fill. So I don't know if you see that, but it displays the wireframe on the object. And you can directly click on the triangles to fill with white or black. No, that's still something that is missing in Painter. Yeah, it will come at some point. Yeah. More questions? Yes? I can't really answer the question. I think it's quite heavy in terms of samplers, because it has to sample lots of textures. But in terms of computation or instructions, it's not that complicated. And actually, you probably already do this kind of stuff for terrain, where you have multiple layers for terrain, and then you blend the materials using vertex color or stuff like that. So it's a similar impact on performances. But yeah, I would not expect this kind of workflow to be available for mobile phone, stuff like that, of course. Yeah. So the question is, if we change something in Unity, does it reflect in Painter? No, it's a one-way process for now. I don't know if we could imagine that. I mean, it's not that complicated, just adjusting a value. So maybe we could have a pipe that sends this value from Unity to Painter. Everything is possible, I guess. Yeah, okay. More questions? Yes? Oh, yeah. Yes, sure. You can simply duplicate that and select another material for this. No, of course, I have to duplicate also the material. So it should be this one, I guess. No, it's in the assets. So yeah, just have to create a new instance of the material. And then for this one, for example, I can select another one. So yeah, you can get as many variations as you want. Well, we are running out of time. So if you have more questions, we will be around here. So if you want to hang out, and we will answer your questions and have a drink maybe. So thank you for your attention.